Hi, today we have Pat Carlson of Changes. Changes is a social organization that helps people that are difficult to employ get real-life work experience. Changes is also completely self-funded, and today we get to hear from Pat Carlson about how and why she started Changes. All right, Pat, so could you tell us a bit about Changes?
Yes, well, I'd love to. Changes is about 5 years old, and I had worked a long time in another nonprofit that I had hired several people who were homeless, who had lived in shelters, and I realized that if people that had real obstacles to employment were given a real chance with lots of coaching and life skills and some financial help and maybe even be a friend employer as opposed to a traditional employer, that many of the people could actually find their way. So 5 years ago, I found myself unemployed and decided that this was the thing that I was going to do because I had been thinking about it for a long time. And a couple of friends joined me. A couple of other friends wrote personal checks to the tune of about $6,000, which isn't a lot of money when you think of the traditional business, but it was enough that I was able to convince several people in the community to join a board of directors, and we started our own nonprofit social enterprise.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, it was daring, shall we say.
Yeah, definitely, with $6,000.
When I tell this to business people, they kind of, roll their eyes and say, "You got to be kidding," right? Because mostly people go to government and say, "I need $100,000. I want to start up such and such." But the timing just seemed to be right, and a lot of it, we could say, was divine intervention. Everything I put my finger on just seemed to unfold naturally.
So why did you choose not to go to government?
Well, I guess I had been in the nonprofit sector for 15 years at that time, and really we knew then government was drying up when it comes to funding. We also had been part of a volunteer group that had gone across Canada studying the volunteer situation, and really the communities out west had discovered some time ago that social enterprise was really what you needed to do to support your own program. So in other words, if you felt that a program was necessary in the community, then you should be able to go into a social enterprise type business so that it would support the program instead of always reaching with a handout, a handout, a handout. So of course in the beginning we still needed funders, because after all, when you're starting with $6,000 and signing a 5-year lease, it's a little scary. I didn't sleep the first year, I don't think, but it was a decision that I felt represented the times we were in. And really now, when you listen to the media, it's, you have to become creative if you're going to work in community. Government just cannot keep paying for everything. Government is us.
Definitely, yeah, that's pretty insightful. So the store itself, it's a clothing store, right?
Well, it's a clothing store, but I guess I could best describe it as a small Winners. When you think of going into Winners, and I don't like to advertise for big business, but anyway, it's a little bit of everything. So we have a bit of small furniture, which would be like, say, a couple of coffee tables, a few lamps. We do have a little 2-seater sofa, that sort of thing. But the majority of our sales is around clothing. And then we have all around the store, there's shelves on all the walls. And all of those shelves have dishes. We have growing books, both fiction, nonfiction. We have new cards that people donate that are brand new. A lot of our things still have original price tags. So it's a little bit of everything.
Cool. So the people you hire that work in the store are people that you consider that are considered not difficult to employ?
Difficult to employ for different reasons. That doesn't mean that everybody is, no education. Just to give you an example, I think you met one of our previous clients. Well, she had a degree and because of alcoholism, lost her way, lost her life, and really everything just went on hold. And then it becomes extremely difficult to get back into the workforce, because what do you tell people when there's nothing on your resume for 2 or 3 years? So we've gone the full gambit from people who have grade 9 and quit school and can't even pass their GED because of all kinds of emotional problems or learning difficulties, right straight through to the person that has a degree and had a career. So the focus is hard to employ, but not to get hooked on those words, because it doesn't mean never employed. It means challenged to get back into the workforce.
Okay, so how do you ensure the quality of your staff?
Well, first of all, we try to hire from the people that we train. So when we can, it's not always possible, but people don't go out into the store in the beginning. When they come to us, the storefront is only about 40% of the building space that we have, and the other 60% is training space, an office, and the actual workshop, because everything we receive is inspected. So people first have to sort of earn the right to go out into the community where the ordinary person is shopping. So they have to prove themselves. There's a lot of tests and a lot of hurdles for them to pass. They have to be serious, committed, willing to hear instruction on correcting behaviors that's not acceptable, willing to learn. And that's not always easy when we're older, because a lot of our people are between 30 and 50. So sometimes if you've had an entire lifetime of being at home and you really haven't learned how things are done in the work world, there's a lot of things to learn before we put you out front on the cash.
All right, so it seems like a pretty extensive quality assurance, I guess.
It is, indeed. And we get a lot of compliments from the community on the service, how friendly we are, how clean everything is. People walk in, they don't even know it's a second store.
That's a pretty awesome compliment.
Yes, yes.
So
it's beautifully decorated. Everything that's received is inspected, and if it's not up to the standard that we want, we pass it on to another charity for their work.
Awesome. So you also host some events every year. Can you talk about that?
Well, we try to do 2 events a year. One is a Learning Days event, and one is a fundraising event. So for instance, just a few months ago, we did a pre-employment job fair, and that was held at the Fredericton Inn, and we did that in partnership with a local business, a local service club, and ourselves, and brought together HR people from the HR Association of New Brunswick, plus the HR people that worked in these other 2 facilities, to talk to people from all walks of life. We had several people there who had not been working for some time. We had people who were new immigrants to the country but are still struggling to try to find their way here. And quite a broad mix in the 25 who attended. So there's no fee for that. And it's just an opportunity for us to demonstrate to people the types of things we have to prep for before we even think of going job searching. So that's one event that we do usually each spring. And the fundraising event that we do is a chocolate tasting, which is just awesome. Everybody loves it. A ton of work. And in that chocolate tasting, we invite 4 restaurants to come together to be the recipient of the People's Choice Award. And so the people vote at the end of the 4 tastings as to the taste that they like the most. And then we also have a band that night. We have a silent auction. We had 115 things donated to the silent auction this year, and I don't think I asked for one of them. People were coming to the store and saying, this is for the silent auction. And one thing was a bracelet worth $1,850, and it had the certificate with it for the appraisal value. So it was quite an arrangement of things that we got. Beautiful, beautiful things. And that serves to keep us going when the retail months are slow. So until we get really well established, but there's always those winter months when people get their visa bills and don't want to go shopping for a while. So those are the 2 events that we hold each year.
Definitely, that sounds great. So are you looking for more people that come to Changes, like as in more employees?
I'm looking for more trainees, yes. And we usually always have an opening. We try not to take more than 3 full-time because it's volunteer-driven, and all our trainers are professional people retired from the community, from their jobs, And so it's a lot of booking. Can you come at this time or another time? So we really try to make sure that the quality is there, and so we can't spread ourselves too thin. The other thing, of course, is that when you're working with people who have all kinds of problems, it's a very slow process. This is not a 12-week program. We're just hiring, as of this coming Monday, a lady who's been with us for 3 years, and she's now going to be on staff. So she has gone through a huge transition in her life, physical, emotional, spiritual, you name it. So we've been kind of den mother for some time with her, and I'm sure that will go on if other things happen in her life that she needs guidance with. So the program is called Changes 360. And when we say 360, that means we're going to look at every aspect of a person's life. What are the obstacles? Why have you not succeeded in life? Or if you have succeeded before, what's going on now? So it's quite detailed.
Okay. So final question, Pat. What advice would you give somebody that's thinking of starting a social enterprise in Atlantic Canada?
Well, preferably have more than $6,000 to start, but I think the first piece of advice is to come out to our conference on March 21st and 22nd, because this conference is going to be a learning experience bar none. We've got people coming, guest speakers from Vancouver, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and of course Desh Deshpande is coming from India, who he just happens to be here that week, so good for us. And I think when people leave this conference, there's going to be real opportunities to start something that they've been dreaming about. And I like to think that this is the place where the everyday person changes the world.
Definitely. Thanks a lot for your time, Pat.
You're quite welcome. Thanks for having me.
Good luck.